stairs return to please stand while the next episode access to the dress center is clear floor and the dress center bar is at marble staircase at either side of the front doors. Thank you.
The t-shirt, they asked running. We'll swap it out for another size if we need one. That's right, then 18.
Thank you. That's okay.
Yeah, so these three here, they'll be $15.
Yes.
So this is 50. Yeah, right.
Yeah. No, that's all right. Right here's the cream.
Have you got anything else?
The pin set.
Okay, so it's $15 per pin. Is it? Oh, sorry, what's the last one? Magnet, fantastic.
You're right.
Yeah, no worries. So I'm already going to the
Okay.
safe. So I don't know if that gives it away, but I just saw Beetlejuice in Melbourne. Also, first time in Melbourne, so like life. Oh, there's a red carpet. Cool. So yes, not only is it my first time in Melbourne, but also the first time to get to see Beetlejuice in its Australian, well, premiere, or at least Australian opening, because this is the first time it's been in Australia. It's fun, I'm not gonna lie. A lot of people have said that Beetlejuice is a fun musical to sit through, and it is. I felt like I was in a comedy show rather than a show about death. Which, I mean, to be fair, Beetlejuice was kind of written as a comedy show more than just like, well, morbid, even though it is Tim Burton's creation and he is well known for doing gothic horror, morbid sort of storylines, and I say that as a Burton fan. Now, the first act of Beetlejuice is more about trying to be as original as possible while trying to capture what the first movie from, I think it was the late 1980s, tried to capture with its like comedic gothic horror elements. Whereas the act 2 of this musical tries to capture the sequel while like confusing itself in a little way that oddly enough sort of works in its way, and that's the only way I know how to explain Act 2, I'm not gonna lie. Act 2, and I read someone else's review on this, and I do agree with them that Act 2, the ending has like 20 different endings, and they just went, let's do all this, you guys are gonna get your money's worth and we're gonna have some fun, so let's do this. And I'm not complaining because it was a bag of laughs, and like I said, Act 2 definitely takes heavy inspiration from Beetlejuice sequel, so I am really curious if this show, or maybe Tim Burton's Beetlejuice 2, which one took inspiration from who? Was this written with Burton's approval and he went, hey, I'm going to use your premise and make it my movie, or did Tim Burton see this and go, maybe I can elaborate on certain elements? So we have Eddie Perfect. Oh my god, I've been a fan of Eddie Perfect for some time now. Oh god, I want to say well over a decade. I think I was like 17 the first time I saw him. And I know Eddie Perfect's amazing. And I will admit that I'm so used to seeing the American version and Alex Brightman doing Beetlejuice that it's ingrained in my mind, and I went and going, okay, he's not Alex, this is Australian, we're gonna do this, we're gonna see how it goes. I'm impressed. I would never like low bar Eddie Perfect because he doesn't deserve that like bar lowered on him, but he had so much fun. He was a blast, and at times it felt like he was doing improv rather than doing the script that was written. I mean, sure, it's his character, it's his character and he knows what to do with it, but in saying that, it just went, oh, we're improvising and all the actors are just gonna have to go with the flow because, well, you guys are gonna have to roll with it, which works in his element, kind of. And then we've got Karis. I've never seen Karis before, but my friends have seen her in Six as one of the queens, and they said Karis is amazing. I got to see her do her Lydia, and I'm not gonna lie, I kind of feel like Karis brought a punk rock element to Lydia, as well as trying to capture what Fiona Ryder started as, and then trying to capture Jenna, what have I got? Why have I forgotten her last name? But Jenna Ortega, yes, did as her character in a sequel. So there's a lot of different elements and it works in Karis's favor. The cast is phenomenal. The one who plays Charles, okay, the one who plays Delia, oh my god. Not gonna lie, when she appeared and like the further I got into watching her, the more I was like, darling, you know what you're reminding me of? The lovely madame who is the Duster in Beauty and the Beast, like that sexy, that like, I know I'm good at this sort of deal. Like she was in capturing that, and I'm questioning, like, I need to look at your resume because did you play the Duster from Beauty and the Beast musical, because you've got those vibes, which I mean, maybe it was intention, maybe not, who knows. Also, some of these jokes I didn't quite understand, but also I'm not from Melbourne, I'm from Brisbane, so my jokes were kind of like, yes. But also, he's Kiwi. I don't know if the actor is, but I was getting Kiwi vibes. I was like, someone's pretending to be Kiwi while trying to be Australian in the same breath. And it's really freaking funny. I was like, he's cute. I love it. A lot of elements, like I said, I've heard the soundtrack because of TikTok, like the last couple of years when COVID broke out, it was like huge. And then it just kind of stuck with me, and I've heard the soundtrack multiple times over the past few years. So seeing it in person was really nice. And I love how it made its Australian references rather than being exclusively American, because I think a lot of us would have been like, yeah, cool, but also like, wait, what? So there, like I said, there is some jokes that probably landed with more people who are familiar with Brisbane or certain areas, with Melbourne, more familiar with Melbourne than like other areas, because they made a joke about Bankstown, and I was like, is Bankstown like the Logan area of Brisbane? Because like we make jokes about Brisbane in itself. So that's interesting, but no, it's a fun little show. I had fun from start to finish. We were cheering. It was almost very heavy in audience interaction. It felt like it was breaking fourth walls. Like I said, Eddie Perfect felt like he was improvising, so when he broke the fourth wall and did audience participation, it definitely felt like he was having fun with us. And the cast were trying their hardest not to break character, but you could tell when we were just cheering a little too hard that they were like, I gotta appreciate this moment, I gotta do this, I need to, love it. So the cast are definitely having a blast, and I love it for them. There's so much fun. Even if you're not a fan of Tim Burton, or if you're not a fan of either of the movies, you should see this at least once. I feel like Beetlejuice is definitely one of those musicals that you just watch once and see how it goes. Then if you don't like it, you can just be like, I saw it, I'm done, I'm dusted. I know myself and my friends were coming back in June. Originally we were supposed to see the closing week, but they extended the season, so we're not seeing the closing week, but that's fine. So we'll be back in like 4 weeks time to see this baby. So you'll get another video just like this. Okay, so now that I'm back in the hotel, I can breathe a bit longer. Let me get comfy-ish. Okay, so I did my video and I stuffed up. I said Bankstown. It's not Bankstown, it's Bendigo. Clearly, I still do not understand the joke there. But in saying that, is Bendigo just Logan Central in Brisbane? Because we make jokes about Logan Central, which may or may not be true. But anyway, so I also didn't mention merch in my last video either. I did buy merch, but also, so I was following a lot of TikToks and other social media posts about Beetlejuice Melbourne, and I looked at the merch and I was really disappointed. Mind you, I've been saying disappointment about a lot of concert merch, so it's not exclusive to Beetlejuice. But I feel like just the merchandise is something that I could buy at JJ's or any other shop that's similar, like clothing shops. Because I'm just like, are you kidding me? Like, where's your variety? Where's your fun? So whoever's been creating concert merch, you need to be fired. You suck. Like, your graphic design team is just very underwhelming. And it's not just a Beetlejuice problem. It's like every concert merch since COVID has been so underwhelming. It's so annoying. So I went in expecting myself to break the bank with Beetlejuice merch, but then the closer I got to it, the more I learned about the merchandise from Melbourne, and I'm just like, I could just go spend 20 bucks at JJ's instead of like 60 or 50 bucks for a shirt. Like, this shirt was like 30 bucks, and I bought this a couple of years ago at like some graphic t-shirt company that doesn't exist anymore, so it kind of sucks. But yeah, that's fun, and Eddie Perfect loved it, so that's even better. But the merchandise. So of course, like always, I bought the program. But my program is signed only because I got super lucky and I did stage door. And I only did stage door by pure accident, because my friends and I were dicking around with taking photos and videos and having fun, that we were like, oh, we might not get stage door. We also don't know where stage door is for Melbourne. But someone pointed us in another direction. And from where we were standing, we were like, oh, there's a crowd. We're going to go join this crowd and see what happens. If nothing happens, it's fine. We got fucking lucky. Not only did we meet Eddie Perfect, we met Karis, and we also met Elise McCann, who plays Barbara. So Lydia, Beetlejuice, and Barbara. So that's cool. That's cool. If I remember next month, I will like bring this back and be like, everybody sign. But unfortunately, the program's a bit too dark, so like the cast could not sign in here like you would think they could. But they also had their own pens, which is great because I didn't prepare the people to sign my booklet, because I never think about getting my booklet signed when I do stage door. I'm just like, selfies disappear. Also, I haven't had a proper look at this. This is the Brisbane one. I know leading up to Melbourne premiere, a lot of people are like, oh no, we've got the American brochure, which kind of sucks, but like, we do what we do. But no, this one is strictly Australian. That's Eddie Perfect. Where's the other one? You know, Karis is in the corner, like that's the scene for Deo. Also, this is really fun to watch. I liked that scene. That was really gimmicky and fun. But yeah, it's Australian, so you're safe. You're safe. With this brochure also came this little guy, which, oh, I sort of had a look at this, but also haven't at the same time. This one's basically just a thicker version of this. This one seems to be exclusively photos from what I've noticed, which isn't too bad. Like, I'm not going to complain. Whereas this one's like, let's give you upcoming shows, let's give you bios, let's give you rehearsals, let's give you a lot. And not many shows do the two booklets, but I only paid for this one. This one came with it, so that's kind of cool. But I think this one's more signable because it's got like white pages, black pages, so it's fine. Whereas this one's just exclusively black pages, as you can kind of tell. The other thing I got, which is again, like, I was kind of annoyed. Like I said, I talked about the merch. I was kind of annoyed. There was only one shirt that I was like, you know, I'm going to get it because it's exclusive to Melbourne. When we get Beetlejuice in Brisbane, when that happens, because they have confirmed that it's going to be a traveling show. So when we get it in Brisbane, I'm going to get the Brisbane version. But this is the only one that I brought. Kind of hate the front. I kind of do, I'm not going to lie. Like, okay, cool, like this is more entertaining. I mean, for 50, 60 bucks that I paid, like, this is more entertaining. But the back, this is why I got it, because it's exclusive. It feels like I actually bought this at a show, and it wasn't just me going, all right, that's 20 bucks at JJ's, there you go. It's good. They are unisex sizes, oh shit, they gave me the wrong size. It's fine. I'm not gonna complain too much, I think. Yeah, he gave me a size bigger. It's fine. Okay. But that's fine. I can deal with bagginess. They are unisex sizes, so do bear that in mind. I'm used to tourist shirts being unisex sizes, so I always get like a medium or large. But the dude gave me an XL. Ooh, I don't know how I feel about that. But it doesn't look stupidly big. I mean, I don't know. It's fine. I don't mind a bit bagginess. But yeah, that's the only shirt I got. Another thing is I did stage door. I have shared some photos on my Instagram, so you can see that. Like I said, I met Karis, Elise, and then Eddie Perfect. Karis is absolutely lovely. The three that I met were absolutely lovely to meet in person. They're very chatty. That's cool. I had realized, and I told Eddie Perfect this, I was like, I've been a fan of you since I was a teenager. And he's like, wow. I was like, yeah, I realized since Offspring. Like, Offspring came out in 2010. I was 16, 17 years old when it came out, and I kind of followed it. And then he was telling me how he's met a lot of people who were teenagers and saw him on Play School, and I was like, I think my siblings are that generation. Like, my siblings are between the age of 13 and 17. So they know him from Play School, and I know him from Spring, and then I just followed him since. But no, I liked his take on Beetlejuice. Not just him as the character, but also him as like the whole show that he created. I will have to read the program a little bit more to see what he did. Because as I mentioned earlier, a lot of the essence is, a lot of the essence feels like it's him trying to be original as possible, while also acknowledging the fact that these aren't his characters to play with. They're Tim Burton's characters. They're Danny Elfman's score. Like Harry Belafonte, his song. He tried to make it feel fresh and original, and a lot of the scenes that I watched, I mean, it's the whole musical, but like there are particular scenes that you sit there and you're like, I've never seen this before. This feels, wait, what? Like even Deo, everybody knows the scene from Deo. You know, we know how fantastic and over the top and campy that sequence is. But then you see it on stage, and I was telling this to my friends, I was like, you see Deo on stage, it doesn't feel like the movie. It feels like you've never seen Deo used in this concept before. And it's fantastic in its element. Absolutely phenomenal. So it works in its favor. But I had a lot of fun watching this. I pissed myself with laughter majority of the time. I like almost cried because, you know, the dead mom sequences were like in your face. And that happens a couple of times. And Karis is phenomenal at bringing those emotional ranges to life with Lydia's range. But no, I was talking to my friends and we couldn't fault it. Mind you, we don't go looking for musical shows and be like, oh, see this scene, it was pretty shit. See that character, that was pretty shit. Like we go in expecting good because, you know, we're paying upwards of $100. So we're expecting goodness, and the fact that we traveled to another state, we were like, come on, our bar's up here. Like you need to give us up here. And they did. We had fun. We did kind of find it funny. We were like, if it's shit, we've just wasted, not only did we waste one trip, but we also have 2 trips. So like, fingers crossed. But no, it's good. We're going to see it again in June, like I said before. But no, I had fun. I think audiences will definitely have fun, as everyone's already said about Beetlejuice too. And I was talking to the Alice who plays Barbara, and she's like, Barbara's kind of just a character there's not enough to play with. So for me, it kind of felt like I wasn't doing much, but you see what she brings to stage, and she's still doing much. Even in the movie, Gina Davis as Barbara wasn't written for a lot. Like, it's more Beetlejuice's show. So the fact that Elise McCann managed to encapsulate what she needed to for the character within the framework that she was given, she did a phenomenal job. So the Maitlands are there, but they're not the biggest deals, and they've never been the biggest deals. We just make it feel like they have because they're so important to Lydia. I will admit, and I think one of my friends kind of disagreed with me on this, the sequence with the boss, you know, the whole reason they put the dinner party on, I kind of felt like the bosses as the characters were very underwhelming. And my friends were like, no, but that's always been the point. Like the whole point, even in Burton's Beetlejuice, the bosses were just underwhelming. And I'm like, yeah, but like... but no, everyone on stage had a lot of fun. I've seen a lot of shows over the last decade or so, and I've seen a lot of actors on stage at various points. Some of them you can watch and you can easily pinpoint the ones who are there just to make income, versus the ones who are like, yes, I'm making income, but I'm having fun along the way. And with the Beetlejuice cast, everyone looked like they were genuinely having fun. Sure, they may have rehearsed for months and may have been done with rehearsing, but they were generally fucking having fun. And that's what you want to see on stage. You don't want to be like, okay, cool, I paid $100 and something and I'm watching someone just perform. Be the monkey that I paid them to be, rather than just, you know, what they wanted to be. But it was great. Eddie's great as Beetlejuice. I mean, he wrote the script, so he knows how to play the character. But he was fun. Like I said, I think he improv'd, and there are moments where you could tell he kind of broke character. A lot of them did attempt to break character and tried their hardest to stay in, but you could see that they were lapping up, and when we were a little more ecstatic than we should have been, they were definitely like, and Karis is definitely trying to hold her smiles in, but you could see she was still happy. But yeah, glad I saw it. Now, where's it going next? Because like it's going to be in Melbourne. There's Brisbane next, Singapore next. Mind you, in my theory, I don't think Brisbane will get it in the first half of 2026, purely because QPAC has announced their first 6 months worth of shows, especially in the Lyric Theatre, and the new theatre doesn't finish until June next year. So my theory is Beetlejuice won't be until mid to late 2026, once that new theatre's 100% complete. At latest we'll get it in 2027, but my guess is definitely within the next 12 months we'll get the show coming back to us. Fingers crossed. It'll be interesting. But yeah, it was a nice long-winded video. It needed to be spoken out, but yeah, until next time, guys.